Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60. The point of this video is going to be fitting the F-Series electric seats, the M3, M2, M4 seats into the E-Series coupe. And I want to go into a bit more detail on how this retrofit works. I've looked at a lot of tutorials that other people have done where they show you repin this, repin that, but they don't explain what you're repinning. And I want to try and help people understand a bit more about why certain functions of these seats don't work in certain retrofits. And I think I've got it all worked out. I'll put a time code here where you can skip to if you're just interested in wiring up your seats. However, if you're here for the rebuild of the E92, I've been working on it. You wouldn't believe it, it's taken a bit longer than I thought it would. After that, the next weekend after that last video went up, I've done an Alcantara headlining. Now, I did intend on filming this Alcantara install. However, as I got the camera out, I realized I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't retrimmed anything in so long. And the old headlinings that I used to retrim back in the day, they were nowhere near as three-dimensional as these BMW ones. It's in, it's okay. You can see some wrinkles over in that corner. That's probably the worst of it. This was the second one that I did, and this one's pretty good. I'm happy with it, but this is an eBay Alcantara, and hopefully some of you will get to see this car in the flesh one day. It looks okay. It's not as nice as real Alcantara. It doesn't feel like real Alcantara. I'd say the pile is a bit too... It's a bit too long. It looks like real Alcantara, but I've done the roof. That took me nearly 3 weekends to do that. By the time I stripped all the old stuff off, cleaned it, and then cleaned it some more, and then finally did the job, it was huge. But it's in. I'm glad I've done it. Would I do it again? Yes. To get this done here is about $2.5 to $3 grand to get proper Alcantara put in, where this cost about $180, including the glue. And I've done A, B, and C pillars. I don't know. Does it look good? Let me know what you think of the Alcantara in the comments. Other things that I've done. So when I was doing the Alcantara and I put it in the car and I had that nice fresh glue smell, not that I was smelling glue, but I realized that a smell is a really important part of a nice clean car, feeling like you've got a good original car. And this car's always smelt a bit musky. I know it had been a smoker's car at some point in its life. When I got it initially, it was full of mold. Then it got water in it again. That led on to a detailing experience that I hope I never have to do again. For the last 2 weeks, I've just been vacuuming. Well, wet vacuuming. In fact, I was taking photos every time I'd extract a load of crap out of the carpet. But anyway, the carpet has had some cleaning. It now feels like new. It can't really smell anything, but we'll see how it goes after a little while. And then I've also been doing the same with this. This goes under the seats. I've been trying to get some smells out of this. Everything is sticky. The foam, all of the foams are starting to break down as they do in these old BMWs, and they go sticky. That's what that gunk is over there near that hoop thing. I'm trying to make it smell nice. I haven't cleaned any of the door cards yet. Essentially, carpet should be good. This is good. We're putting nice new leather seats in. Hopefully this is going to smell like a nice new car. That's my plan. All right, let's get on with the seats. This is a big thing. So first thing I'm going to do is try and get these rear seats in. Now, the factory seats bolted there and there. I'll go and show you the difference between F-Series seats and the E92 coupe seats. All right, let's have a go at getting the back seats in. So firstly, let me show you the differences between the two. These are the original E92 coupe seats. Small, or 1/3 to the right-hand side of the vehicle and 2/3 to the left. And the, I don't know what you call it, the axle that they pivot on the back is in the small piece. On the F87 set, which I believe is going to be the same as the F82, so M4 and M2, but the axle is on the right-hand side. So they both mount to the actual bolt point on the outside in the same position here. Let's see if we can get those in there. All right, so first off, we'll try and put the big section in because this was the hardest one to get out. And I'm going to slide it through the hole. Oh, that's easy. I feel this is easier than when I did the, when I removed them. That's definitely tight, but that's going to go in. Oh. Or maybe I need to change a bracket. Okay, so they are a little bit wider. That is the F-Series seat on the top. and E-Series seat down the bottom. Okay, so update number 1. These are the M2 seats in the car. It's not going to plan. I'll probably do a better update on the weekend, but they are locked in. They're not screwed in down the bottom at the moment. Now, you could make it work with some custom brackets, but I've got a problem with the base. The base doesn't sit high enough, so we've got this gap, which I do not like. I'm not comfortable with the gap, and it also doesn't clip in. There is no way to get the base to clip in on the original mount, so I don't like that this is essentially loose. It is just a cover, and if these were a really good bargain and all that you get your hands on, yes, but I want to try something else. So I've stolen some seats from Daniel. Don't tell him. Also, I'm just doing this after hours during the week, and how sick is the friggin' light up seats? Oh, I'm happy with that. Actually, I almost forgot. To get the seats to clip in, I needed to move that pivot point down. It's all loose at the moment, but that's how much lower or longer the 2 Series seats are than the E92. I also had to move this on both sides. I had to pull this latch this way, so I elongated the holes about 5 mil, and that let me lock the seats in and latch them in. Still, not happy with it because of the base, which isn't in there right now. I just thought I'd show you guys this. So the issue is with these brackets, although these are a different shape to the 2 Series brackets, but it is literally a few millimeters too long, and that's what stops it coming down in here. You can get away with removing the plastic spacer, and it's nearly enough to get it down, which I'll probably do now, because I kind of want to see if these M4 seats are going to fit, even though they're quite worn. So M4 seats are in, and same issue. The width is too high, so they don't actually fit with the brackets on. The bolt sticks out. It's probably 5 to 10 mil too wide. So if you remove the brackets, made some custom brackets, you could get them in. But even to get these in, I've had to remove the center locking piece, so they're never going to pivot properly. It's just a bit shit. You could make them fit, but I don't think it's right. And just quickly, although the M4 seats don't have the gap between the top section and the bottom section, they don't actually fit widthwise, so you've got a gap there, and there is no way of clipping the bottom section in. So M4 seats are a no-go as well, because I want them to be clipped in. I don't want them loose. All right, guys, it's the next weekend. We've ended up with the original seats back in. That was a lot of work. The reason I wanted to change them was they did get a bit water damaged. Okay, they got a lot water damaged. So when I realized that the M2 and the M4 seats weren't going to fit, the E92 M3 seats that I have are probably in worse condition than these. I've basically just been leather treating the hell out of them. And this section here was like rock hard. But it's softening up, and I've put about half a liter of leather cream into these seats, and they're getting better. They're getting better. It's soft-ish. But hopefully that's going to have to do for now. Yeah, the F-Series seats going in is just not an option. But that's the rear side done. Right, now the interesting thing, well, I think it's interesting, these front seats and the modules and how we make them work. All right, guys, time for the main part of this video. Now, I kind of want to, before I get into showing you the wiring, this is an F-Series seat here, I want to try and explain why some people can use the F-Series modules, why some people don't use the F-Series modules, and give you a bit of an idea on how these seats communicate with the rest of the car, because it's more simple than I initially realized, and that's why I couldn't really understand why some of the guides were worded the way that they worded. Now, first thing to realize, the seats have separate parts to them, I guess. You've got separate seatbelt tensioner, occupancy sensor, and airbags in the F-Series. And when I say separate, the main plug that goes to the body of the car, we've got the black section, and then we've got the yellow section. The yellow is all the airbag and safety side of things. When you do the retrofits, you actually leave those in place from the original seats. I have my E92 one here, and you'll see it's got a connector on it. So what we're going to do is actually fit that piece to the E92 seats, and then we're not going to need to mess around with any of the airbag or safety side of what we're retrofitting here. As far as I'm aware, you can't fit the F-Series seatbelt tensioners or seatbelt buckles to an E-Series, and I assume they've just got different resistors inside and it will throw issues with the airbag module or airbag system. And we don't want any errors on the dash once this is done. So the safety side of the seats aside, they then get broken down into basically seating position for the upper section, the lower section, or whichever way around it goes. Things like this here, I believe, is for the lumbar support. And you'll notice that we've got 2 plugs here that are not being used. Now, I'm fairly confident, sorry, it's one, well, it is 2 plugs if you get it on the right angle. That is for seat heating. This module here, which is the one that come in the M2, I think it has got the ability to do seat heating. But this seat here, or the M2 seats that I have, don't have any heated seats. So we don't end up using all the plugs. And that's why when you look at some guides online, there's a different number of plugs in the seats. Going back to this section that connects to the car, the black section comes through into the loom and it's just here. So we've only got 4 wires going into the actual seat module from the car. And that's why some people fit these seats and everything sort of works. Well, that's what they claim, because you can just give it power. As long as it's got CAN bus signal, which is what the green wires are, it will turn on and it will function nearly. One thing that you do need to keep in mind, the original modules that come with your seats are looking for signals from the original car they were in. So if that original car had heating, it will be looking for a CAN bus signal from an F-Series car to turn the seat heating on. So that will be why some people have done these retrofits, use the original modules, everything works apart from seat heating, and it's because it's looking for an E-Series seat heating. On that note as well, and I can't test it because I don't have a car here with seat heating, but the pre-LCI E9X, they had a separate module for the seat heating where the LCI-ons had the same looking module as this and all the same plugs as the F-Series, and I believe they had seat heating in them. You can still get a pre-LCI car to work with seat heating, but you need one of the pre-LCI seat heating modules. They're another smaller module, and they look for, don't ask me why I have that module, but I do. They look for a PWM signal from the FRM unit, and that tells the seat heater module how hot to make your seats. And you can hook that all up with an F-Series seat in a pre-LCI, but it's probably easier just to grab some E9E or E9X series modules here. Now, getting it to work with this module is fine. In fact, that's what I've done with the passenger seat. The one thing I can't get to work on the car at the moment on the passenger seat is the rear access control. Let me show you. So this is the original E92 passenger seat, and it has a little button here so that when you're in the back and the doors open, you can actually move the electronic seat forwards. And you'll see the F-Series seat has one as well. Now, unfortunately, I can't get that to work with the F-Series module. Looking into it, that's only supposed to operate when the door's open. So you're not supposed to be able to adjust the seat from the back if the door is closed. Well, I think so anyway. Somebody might correct me, but that is the one feature that I can't get to work in this car using the F-Series module. But everything else works, especially if I turn the car on. So we'll just wake it up. That'll turn the interior lights on. I got my LED lighting up, but you can't see because we're in the sun. And the seat all moves appropriately. Everything moves the right way. And lumbar support and all this. Everything functions properly. So that's a win. I don't need to replace that module, assuming I don't need to use the rear angle adjustment. Now, where it does become an issue is the memory position on the seat. So all the driver seats have a memory function that actually link to key 1 and key 2 that's linked in with the CAS. Now, it does a similar thing with an F-Series. So depending on which key you're using, it will default the driver's seat to that position. Now, that function, I haven't even tried it. I'm not going to try it because I wouldn't expect it to work. The F-Series module is going to be trying to connect to the, or an F-Series, it's probably going to be an FEM module or a BDC module. So it's going to be looking for a module that's not even in the car. That's why we need to use an E-Series LCI module that will be looking to the CAS, which is where that information is stored. All of the key information is stored in the CAS or an E-Series, and that's what's going to get the memory positioning to work. So right here I have an E-Series LCI seat module. This is out of a car that did have heated seats. It's also out of a left-hand drive car. So this was the driver's seat on the passenger side. I believe that's what the module number links to. So we're going to try that. Now, this actually all plugs in replace of the S-Series module, which I'll do in a second. The rest of what we're going to do, and I can't remember if we mentioned this now, I'm just going to open up quickly. In fact, I'll bring you guys in so you can have a bit better view. So we're going to actually swap over the seatbelt pretensioner side. So just cut that clip up. And we will remove this one as well. So they have to come out separately. Now we're going to leave on the F-Series seat for now. So for now, we're going to leave the seatbelt pretensioner wiring there. This one is the airbag wiring. Now we don't have any airbag control on an E-Series for the seats, so we're just going to leave it loose, make sure it can't touch anything or be set off at any point. I will remove the seatbelt pretensioner, and then just undo this clip. And then we are left with this side of the wiring here. And just going through it quickly, we have ground, power. I believe that one is wake up. The two green here are CAN bus, or green and orange in that case. And the purple wire is specifically for the LED light, which unfortunately is an M2 logo. Right, let's have a quick look at the E-Series seats. So I actually did it off camera. I did it last week, actually. This is the yellow plug that you see when you first take the seats out. Now, the seatbelt tensioner has been removed, or the seatbelt tensioner wiring, and then the main plug I've just slid out of this thing. Now, what you're left with is the main wiring harness for the seat. Now, this being a pre-LCI, it's got more functionality coming through here than the later model cars. In fact, I believe the purple wire on this seat is actually for seat heating, even though these seats did not have seat heating. So what I did is basically worked out which wires we're going to need for the F-Series seat. Now the E-Series has two grounds, so we need to make note of where at least one of those grounds were plugged into the chassis, because we need to access these grounds for the F-Series. We have the main larger gauge power wire, we have the smaller red power wire, and then we have our CAN bus there, which is the same color as the CAN bus colors on the F-Series seats. So what I'd recommend you do is just take a photo of one of these plugs, because you need to put the F-Series wire into this plug in the same position, and you need to get them around the right way. But obviously, basically all of these have no function on the F-Series, so we don't need to connect those. So once you've got photos, you know where everything's located. It's just a matter of removing the wires from this plug, because you need this plug for the F-Series. And it's a normal BMW type of pin. You can just with a pick, don't stab yourself, but just with a pick, you can release the tang and remove them all. Like so. So seatbelt tensioner on both the E-Series and the F-Series, they're just held on with a T40, just a single bolt actually. They do have that cross thread feel. Maybe it's just a little bit of corrosion, but the bolts are exactly the same. This bolt is the E-Series bolt, that is the F-Series bolt. I just Loctited. I guess this is something you don't want to come loose. There's a couple of electrical clips that hold the wiring to the frame, which we'll try and pop off. There it is. And that actually removes the seatbelt tensioner and wiring from the F-Series. I'm going to leave it all complete and replace it with the E-Series one. So that'll actually bolt on. It's got all the same mounting points. Use the nicer looking bolt. And that is the seatbelt side done. So following the pin out from the picture that we just took, it's now time to put the F-Series pins in the location where they're going to go on the new one. So we'll remove all these ones, exactly the same pins, just a different housing. So they remove all the same way, except there's less of them on the F-Series. And then the power. Still just as awkward to get out. So they are removed. I'm going to do the smaller wires first. So first one we're going to put into place is the main power, the smaller gauge red wire. Not sure if this is a LIN bus or if it's a wake-up signal. Normally BMW wake-up signal is red and green. I feel like I did actually work out what this was last week and I have immediately forgotten, which is very helpful. And it goes into that location there. We then have power, which is in the big, try and go that way, that big location. And then ground I'm going to put in the top corner. Some decent sized pins. So they are in. The purple wire on the F-Series is for the LED in the seat, which we're going to wire to a power source shortly. And then we've got the two CAN bus. The all green CAN bus goes in that location there. Just in time for some rain. And then the green and orange CAN bus goes in that location there. That is the main car part of the harness. All done. Everything is clipped in. Power, ground. We are good. Now, before I slide it in the yellow piece, I'm actually going to test this in the car. But before I do that, I am going to swap the modules because I kind of want memory seats to work. I don't know why. Don't know why that just come apart either. So we'll remove the F-Series module completely. And I guess if worst comes to worst, and you didn't have the LCI module, you could use the F-Series module. You're just not going to have memory seats or heated seats if your car had heated. Leave the airbag out of the way. All right, so we go that one, the main car harness. Actually, you've got to go this way. So that one goes in first. And that one, and then the main car harness. E-Series module in, and then we're gonna lock it in place, which I can't remember how to do. I think it's just a matter of squeezing it in. That's it. That's the main seat module. All right, let me get this in the car. We'll plug it in. We'll see what works. Okay, I lifted the seat in and it powers up, which I will show you. We've got backwards, forwards, all of the lumbar support and all that side of things. This all works. I haven't tried setting memory yet. However, one thing that doesn't work, when I go this one, when you go down, it goes up. When you go up, it goes down, but backwards is correct, forwards is correct. So there's one function that is back to front. Now that's going to be an issue with the wiring difference between the E-Series seat module, which I've put in it, and the F-Series seat. I'm going to have a quick look at some wiring diagrams and see if we can fix that, because I'd like it to be the right way, although it's not life or death. So you don't have to do, well, if you're happy with that, you're good to go. Okay, so this is connector 2, and you can hopefully just see there. This is what should be pin 1, 2, and 3. So that's the one we want to change on that side. And then it's pin 16, which hopefully you can see there. The one at the end is 14, 15, 16. So we need to change basically 3 pins in on the big side, and that should reverse the polarity going to the height adjustment motor. Let's give it a go. Hey, up is now up, down is now down. Oh, forwards, forwards, angle back. Yep, angle forwards. Everything's now working as it should. We'll try memory stuff later. I have confused myself doing this over a couple of weekends. This is seat occupancy, so I'm going to swap this plug onto the blue plug on the F-Series. It's not airbag. Okay, so I don't know where I keep getting the airbag idea from. I know some of these seats do have airbags. Maybe the M2 ones don't. Somebody might be able to comment and just confirm. I haven't looked at an M3 or an M4 version, but it appears these ones don't have airbags. It says airbag, but I cannot find the wiring. The wiring I was thinking was the airbag wiring is the seat occupancy sensor wiring. Regarding the seat occupancy sensors, now, other guys that I've read that have done this conversion, they end up just coding the seat occupancy sensor out. I did just look up the proper procedure for replacing the seat occupancy sensor, and you need to calibrate it or initialize it. So under new TIS, it says that you have to go, there's a special procedure with ISTA that you go through and it calibrates the seat occupancy sensor, which makes sense because it's a resistance value, I guess. Now, I haven't done that, and I was just checking what was going on here. So currently, my passenger seat says seat occupancy sensor not initialized, and my driver's seat says seat occupancy sensor disabled, which may be a factory coding thing, or maybe somebody has made it so that, I know this car had Carly on it when I got it, or somebody had played with Carly, so maybe they've turned off the seatbelt warning for the driver's seat. But I will look into that over the next week or two, and I'll add a comment. I'll pin a comment about the seat occupancy sensor and see if we can make the F-Series seat occupancy sensors work, because it'd be nice. It'd be nice to try and retain that functionality, although most people are probably just going to code it off with NCS Expert or Carly or Beamer Code or all those different apps that do it these days. But I will delve into that a bit further. So currently where we're at, the seat is functioning properly with all the controls, apart from the rear one again. I still don't have this control. That could be because this module is out of, I think it's out of an E9X, which wouldn't have the rear seat movement switch. Anyway, aside from that, everything is getting pretty close. Now, this is how I've just got it wired in. I haven't got the top section of the connector on, but the last wire we've got to do is the LED in the logo up there. I'm gonna have to get them changed to hopefully just M, because this isn't an M3, believe it or not, everyone. All right, so what I'm just gonna do, I'm gonna strip this wire up, and this is just a 12-volt wire that is connected to the rear footwell light. I would just recommend pinning it into or tapping into any of the floor lights. So basically when you unlock the car and the interior lights come on, those M logos light up. All right, I'm gonna get this trimmed, get it connected. So now it's just a matter of putting all the clips back into the E-Series housing. Which is nice and tight. And then the seatbelt tensioner is next. That's easier. And then the occupancy sensor, which isn't doing anything at the moment. They all clip in. So there you end up with all of the clips in. And we have one dangly wire, but this thing goes in. This thing goes in an awkward way. And we have the seat module there. Now this isn't going to clip in the... Oh, is it going to clip in? Maybe it will clip in. Let's see if it'll clip in. It's not going to clip in. They don't want to line up, but maybe those three will line up. It sort of clips in. All right, so we have that there. I feel like that's a bit low. All right, so the seat is in, and just going to test the memory. So we go set, and we'll set this to position 2, and then we'll go forwards. And we'll go some gangster lean, set that to position 1. Then we should. Memory function is working. Nice, all right. We'll leave that there. Go down low. God damn it. All right. We're getting there. It's about time to film this outro. Guys, it's been another week. I wanted to test, well, basically what you've just seen. I wanted to test the theory that I had on the occupancy sensor. And on this car, I could not initialize the F-Series occupancy sensor. ISTA gave me no option to do that. It was like it's something that can't be accessed with the way that this vehicle order is set up. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to do this seat, It isn't really plug and play. You do need to keep a few bits from your old seat, and you do need to do some custom coding. On this E92, I had to code out the active headrests, and there was something else, and I had to code out the occupancy sensor. But once that was done, no errors on the dashboard. Obviously, we're using the original E92 belt buckles, so they all still work and function as they should. There are no errors on the dashboard. In fact, let me show you. I got the key. Now, just keep in mind, this car has no engine ECU in it at all, so there's a few things. Was no wires in the engine bay, so we get a few errors from the front. I dropped the key. Oh, and keen viewers will notice I've also put the F-Series steering wheel in, not part of the seat install. This was not too bad to do. It is an F10M5 wheel. The main reason I wanted it with the paddles. I love these F-Series shift paddles. I have not got the steering wheel module for this yet. I'm gonna have to get it because I kind of want the buttons to light up and work. I wasn't fussed about cruise control, but I do want radio control to work. But for now, I have just done the same wire modification that I did when I did my DCT install. And if you're curious about that, just ask me in the comments and I'll give you a link to make the F10 paddles work in an E92. But yeah, the M5 steering wheel actually just bolts on. There's a few modifications you have to do. I followed Vehicular DIY's guide on that. But errors. Seatbelt reminder does show up until you start the car, but that's not an actual error. I was going through with IMPA and testing everything I could, basically all the values for the seat sensors, the explosive component in the seatbelt tensioner. Everything is working. Everything's got the correct resistances. We're good. We're good. It's definitely not plug and play like a lot of people seem to think this swap is. You do need to repin things. You do need to keep connectors from your old seats. You need the seatbelt buckles from your old seats. There's a bit of messing around to do to put these seats in, but I think it's worth it. They do look good. We've got the lights working, and I'm stoked I've got the F-Series wheel, which is a brand new wheel, and my oily fingerprints are making it messy already. All right, I'm gonna end it off there. Next week, MBT retrofit. I'm waiting on one last component that's coming from overseas, and it's been 3 weeks. It's really annoying, but hopefully next week, we're gonna have MBT Evo, touchscreen in here, HD reverse camera, and I'll bring you guys along for the ride. Sorry this video is taking so long. I'm busy, but we're getting there. I cannot wait to get this car back on the road, and it's sick with these seats. I love it. All right, guys, thank you for watching. And any questions, as always, hit me up in the comments.